It's also true for other bureaucracies. The governance of DepEd has not only been highly centralized. Since Counts wrote his paper in 1925, it is extremely hierarchical. For instance, no policy or practice in the lower levels of the hierarchy may change or take place unless there is an explicit DepEd memo from the central office that allows it. An example is the rather ridiculous scenario of schools rejecting much-needed donations from credible donors because of the absence of a DepEd memo. Our joke is that school heads will wait for a memo to implement principal empowerment. This cultural mindset is undermining DepEd's moves towards decentralization. Indeed, despite the success of SBM in TEP and the proven capacity of school heads to supervise classroom construction and manage funds, there still prevails a distrust that characterizes many of our bureaucracies, and it's not just DepEd. Teachers, for instance, hardly complain about multiple tasks away from the classroom that include cooking for visits of officials from central or regional offices. The observation visitations of the higher-ups actually have been referred to as bitbitations, bit, okay,
right,
that are fruitful and fishful, okay, actually, for the Filipinos there, because they bring home baskets of goods from these visits. I will not be surprised if you also visit the Philippines and you go to a school and they prepare students to wave their flags because you came from the United States and you might like to donate to them, subject to a memo, of course. Goes hand in hand with employees in the lower echelon officials turning the other way when faced with misdemeanor in public office, with cheating and general corrupt practices. Expressing disagreements or taking an ethical stance as to correct wrong action is deemed too inconvenient and too risky for one's job. So, top leadership does matter, but it is a double-edged sword. Secretary, TEP worked because Secretary Rocco was a secretary. The World Bank wanted Rocco to return the money that was not moving because the construction was not moving fast. Rocco had political ambitions, did not want to be the secretary returning the money, even if it's not his fault, because in the public eye it will be his fault. So he got the private sector people to determine how this can be done, and he pushed TEP. And in many ways, he fought Congress because the congressmen did not like did not like principal-led construction, because construction is supposed to be the Department of Public Works and Highways, which is the source of corruption. This practice undermines the constitutional notion of merit and fitness, leading to demoralization and the destruction of initiative in a civil service office like the DepEd, where money is not incentive, but where the incentive is really something else. It's psychological, it's a sense of mission. The bureaucracy is so timid, so tame, so domesticated, so fearful and so powerless because of the appointment process that is so open to abuse. The Philippines is a multilingual nation with more than 171 living languages. I did not even know this, the linguist told me this. Filipino is spoken by at least 84% of the population. Philippine English is spoken by 56% of the population. It's our official language of government. There are 10 regional lingua franca. Additionally, Arabic, Chinese, and Spanish are also valued. In Muslim Philippines, Arabic is the third official language in school. In short, the average Filipino is quadrilingual. In addition, we aspire to teach our citizens to be fluent in both English and Filipino. For over 80 years, the recommendation to use the child's languages in school as a medium of learning has been consistently rejected. People have confused teaching in English, using English as a medium of instruction, with making children use English in grade 1 or in preparatory school. The only point of this of the argument that is applied to almost every other place except some countries in Africa and the Philippines is that you have to use the native language of the child to make the child learn English and to make the child learn Filipino very well, and then to make English and Filipino the academic medium of instruction for academic teaching. It must be an academic language built on the native language of the child. I thought I was doing well. I was very proud of myself for being able to achieve this because I learned it on my own. Now I know it doesn't happen. Okay. So anyway, okay, let me now conclude so that you will not be too bored. So it seems to me that the US debates passionately on the role of government in everyday life, including its role in education. In a country like the Philippines, where the government is captured by various interests, the problem is not too much intervention. It is that government has abdicated on a reformist function at a crucial juncture in the country's history. Maybe it's also because we have no plan at all. We have a BESRA is a plan, it's an elegant plan, but nobody's taking BESRA seriously. In fact, I know of a politician who said, never mind, just make it, everything, we just make the laws, and anyway, we can just violate those laws later on. So James Wilson, in his book, Bureaucracy, What Government Agencies Do and Why They Do It, discussed 4 types of government agencies. A different mix of incentives should be given there. Outputs are defined as the work the agency does on a day-to-day basis. Outcomes are the results of the agency work, that is how the world changes because of the outputs. Outcomes may be hard to observe because of the difficulty of guarding data. In this matrix, DepEd is a coping agency. As in similar agencies, effective management is almost impossible. Public school systems, local police forces, and diplomatic corps are examples of coping agencies because you don't see the policemen moving, you don't see the teachers on the ground. Management in such agencies has a strong incentive to focus effort on the most easily measured and controlled activities of the staff, like lesson plans, etc. But that also has, I cannot end on a note like this, talking to fellow Filipinos in the United States. Because we always have to hope, even if sometimes those of us in the Philippines feel desperate about what's going on. We have no choice, especially those of us in the country, but to do our share and hope for changes in the country's biggest bureaucracy. And we cannot do away, the NGOs think we can do away with the bureaucracy. We don't have the means to actually reach people without the bureaucracy, so that it can facilitate the fulfillment of the transformative potential of education reform for the sake of the progeny, our progeny, and the future generation of Filipino children. I think I tried to tackle a lot of things. I tried to say a little about political culture. It's really a puzzle. I mean, I guess what I'm asking you to help in this discussion. I'm not the expert. This is our puzzle, and I go back to the puzzle of why we are left behind. We are being left behind by the countries we once surpassed. And it's not, I don't mind Singapore and Malaysia because they're expected to surpass us. They have less population, etc. But once Indonesia is starting to surpass us, Indonesia's education system is better than us. The basic education reform is working there. Vietnam definitely will outlast us and will surpass us. And it is because, of course, of the will. And then maybe this is really a time to reflect on why we're not reforming. And this is not just education, it's really why the country is the way it is. So thank you.
Thank you.